The following is brought to you by Sports Radio New York.
My next guest this evening is a former Rangers defenseman that currently writes a very popular blog, especially with New York Rangers fans, called Kotzy's Corner. Check it out at kotzyscorner.blogspot.com. That's with 2 Ks. Chris Kotsopoulos joins us now here live on New York Hockey Talk. Chris, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, no problem. Nice to be here.
Chris, I mentioned your blog, which I believe, when did you start that? Back in March of last year?
Yeah, a little over a year ago, a little under a year ago, I guess. I got talked into doing it by some of the people up at Quinnipiac University, where I actually do color commentary.
Right.
For the men's hockey team, and it's turned out to be a fun thing. I'm not like a normal blogger though, Rob. I don't, I don't want to write every day, because sometimes you just sort of beat a dead horse with the same news over and over.
Yeah,
so I kind of take my time in between.
So when something strikes you got an opinion about, you throw it up there, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the Rangers have undergone a number of changes heading into the season, as you know. What are your thoughts about the deals Sather has made in the offseason to shape this year's roster?
Well, I'll be honest with you about when they started making all these moves. I think a lot of people had a lot of question marks, but since training camp's open, and I've been watching these games real closely to see what kind of deals that these players are going to bring to the Rangers, faithful and stuff like that. I think Sather's done a great job, to be honest with you. I mean, the team looks a little faster, a little quicker, a little more energetic. I think they're going to score more goals this year, but hopefully this year it'll end better than it ended last year. I mean, I think last year they got off to a fast start, but sort of tired out at the end of the year, and I think this year might be a little longer process and get stronger as the year goes on. I
think, the biggest thing Sather did in the offseason, and I was surprised he was able to do it, is not that Scotty Gomez is he's an excellent player, but being able to unload his contract and to get some value back that he did in Chris Higgins was a great move by him, and it really opened a lot of doors and enabled him to get guys like Gaborik and really change the roster.
Oh, absolutely. I had the great pleasure of playing in the Scotty Gomez golf tournament this summer up in Anchorage, and got to meet him. And it was a tough call for him. I mean, he wasn't happy about it, but it proved one thing: somebody wants him in this league. And you're right; it did open up the doors to the Rangers. They did have a little problem with the salary cap, and you were able to get Marian Gaborik out of the deal. Now, we all know how good a player he can be when he's healthy, and that's nothing to say anything bad about Scotty. I mean, I'm sure Scotty Gomez will do well in Montreal, but Marian Gaborik's a bit of a, the goal he scored the other night proved to me what kind of a sniper he is when he fired that puck through the 5-hole on Theodore there. I mean, he didn't give him a chance to slam his pads together. I mean, that's a sniper.
Well, that's what I wanted to do, is ask you about some of the individual players on the team this year, and I wanted to start with actually Gaborik and Chris Drury. And the reason I put those two guys together is I think with Gaborik here now, assuming he can stay healthy, he obviously gives the team a real legitimate goal scorer and a game breaker. But I think his presence is going to go a long way towards taking some of the pressure off Drury and just going allow Drury to go out and play his game. So I think it's kind of twofold getting Gaborik.
Oh, absolutely. I think you sound like you're like my evil twin brother. I've been saying that ever since the trade. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of guys like Chris Drury and guys like Callahan, guys that were here from last year. I think Gaborik's going to make everybody better down the line. I mean, just having him on the ice, he is that kind of a player. I mean, I would love to have played with a guy like Marian Gaborik. Would have probably made me a little bit better. But no, you hit it right on the nose there. I think the pressure is going to be a little bit less on Chris Drury's shoulders, and I think the pressure is going to be spread around a little bit evenly this year.
Now, the key question, of course, is can he stay healthy? He's had some injury problems in Minnesota the past couple of years. When he was drafted, everyone knows his skill level and the talent level, but the thing is his durability. Is he going to be able to withstand a full season and give the Rangers 82 games?
Well, I hope so. I mean, they've invested quite a bit in him money-wise, and realistically, I mean, he's going to be the leading key player, and I think in the New York Ranger 2009-2010 team, but. I don't know how much you put into it, the stock of how hurt he was, how bad he was. Right. There's all kinds of speculation going on that he might not have. He might not have wanted to stay in Minnesota no more. So, I've played with guys like that had that kind of status in the past, and I don't think the Rangers are going to push this guy too much. I mean, if he don't have to practice, he don't have to practice. Just be ready for games.
Well, I think, and he was up in Minnesota where Lemaire played a more defensive style. Maybe it wasn't really conducive to his game, and maybe after a couple of years of that, maybe he just felt like he wanted to kind of break out and get a little more creative and let his talent take over.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, there was some the rumblings back in Minnesota, at least as far back as 2 or 3 years ago, of him trying to get out of that franchise. But I'm glad he's in New York right now, and fortunately for the Ranger fans, if he stays healthy, you're going to have a good year out of him.
Now, we mentioned how he's going to help guys like Drury in terms of taking pressure off, but he reminds me a little bit. He's not quite as big, obviously, as Jaromir Jagr was, but he uses his body real well to protect the puck and move it, and he's very shifty. And it just, how would you assess him in terms of his ability to make others around him better?
Well, I don't know if you remember the game he played last year against the Rangers towards the end of the season, where it was like one of his first games back after being off so long.
I think Sather was watching that game.
Yeah, well, I think we were all watching how he absolutely dominated that game, I thought. I think he scored a goal and assist, and the part that impressed me the most is he was physical in that game. He laid out a few of the Rangers with some nice, clean, hard body checks. So I'm not worried about the physical part of it. I think actually he's probably more a physical player than Jaromir Jagr could ever dream of being.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's not as big, but he seems to use his body well on the ice.
Well, he's got the good balance, and I was at the Ranger Golf Tournament Classic a couple weeks ago, and we got John Tortorella to speak to the alumni the night before, and he was actually quite surprised when he saw Marian Gaborik for the first time when he walked into the team dressing room, and the upper body strength looks pretty good on him, he said, and he was actually surprised how big he was up top.
Well, you mentioned, there's some other guys I want to ask you about, but you mentioned Tortorella, and Dave Maloney on the broadcast this afternoon, the Rangers were playing Washington, he was talking a little bit about how Tortorella can, he's definitely brings a different attitude to the team than when the team was under Tom Rennie for so many years. A little more energy, obviously, and he's kind of the personality of the team right now. And Maloney was saying on the air this afternoon that that's okay in the beginning, but over time that the team or the players really have to adopt that philosophy. Are there any guys on this team that you feel fit that mold? To me, I think a guy like Ryan Callahan is a perfect fit for the style of play that Tortorella is looking to play, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him wearing one of the A's at the beginning of the season.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's been a lot of speculation on who's going to be wearing A and, which players, a couple other players, but I'd pick Callahan just for his effort. His pure effort's unbelievable. The only thing I wish for Ryan Callahan is he grows another inch or two and gains about 20 pounds.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you, he gives you everything.
He really does.
He gives you. I love that kid. I'll call him a kid for the last 2 or 3 years with the Rangers. I mean, he gives you everything he's got, and he's not bad offensively. I mean, he's got some probably 20, 25 goals.
Yeah, I mean, he has some hands. It's funny. He's not that big a guy, but yet he plays a physical game. He's not afraid to go in the corners or go in front of the net, or he plays a tough game for a guy that's not that big.